Four young friends bound by a tragic accident are reunited when they find themselves being stalked by a hook-wielding maniac in their small seaside town.
This is Ryan.
And this is Ashley.
And this is
Ruining Our Childhood.
A nostalgic weekly podcast where a married couple rewatches and reviews our favorite 90s and 2000s movies to decide if they hold up to our adult standards.
That is correct. Thanks for joining us today.
Yeah.
Another episode 72.
And a Halloween episode.
Yeah, Halloween celebration. What did you say last year?
It was our something spooktacular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Cheesy.
This week, we're doing the 1997 classic, I Know What You Did Last Summer. And we decided to do this one because I forgot about this movie for a second. And last week when we were renting Scream 3, it popped up as a, similar title.
It's related.
Yeah. And this was something that I did enjoy as a kid.
For sure.
So I'm excited to rewatch it because I don't think I've seen it since probably 1998 when the sequel came out.
Yeah, and I've only seen it maybe once.
Huh. We're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah.
Welcome, guys. Ashley, Ryan.
Hello.
We skipped the pleasantries.
Yeah.
Let's go down memory road, not lane, because that one time Ryan messed it up in case anybody new is listening. That's why we say memory road instead of memory lane. And it just kind of stuck. Yeah. So let's go down memory road by talking about some 1997 facts.
This movie was released on October 17th of 1997. It had a budget of $17 million, and it made $125 million. Very successful. Popular TV shows were Seinfeld, ER, and Veronica's Closet. The number one song the week the movie came out was Elton John, Candle in the Wind. A couple other popular songs were Hanson, Bop, and Puff Daddy with Faith Evans and 112, I'll Be Missing You. Mm-hmm. And popular movies were Titanic, Men in Black, and The Lost World.
Jurassic Park?
Yes.
Okay. I was like, what's The Lost World?
And it was the number 3 movie of the year? I've never heard of this.
We've definitely done 97 before.
I don't know what movie it is, but I remember reading off like Candle in the Wind before.
Can't Hardly Wait? Was that 97? Or was that 98?
I think that was 98.
Oh, darn. Such a good movie. So, 1997 was a great year. Mm-hmm. I was in 5th grade.
I was in 7th.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I remember renting this, so it was probably like in February, March. I remember renting it and watching it on a sleepover.
Okay.
But obviously, we've done Cruel Intentions before. Half the cast is in that movie.
Yes.
As far as like Ryan Phillippe and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Mm-hmm. And if you've listened to our Cruel Intentions episode, you know that baby Ashley was a big fan of Ryan Phillippe. She had a Cruel Intentions poster on her wall. Mm-hmm. Obviously came out before, but yeah. So this is actually the first time I saw him in a movie.
Same.
He was on my radar after that. Mm-hmm. But I think he's not a good character in this movie. Not that he was a great character in Cruel Intentions.
He was a terrible human being.
But he was slightly more likable. I want to say, if I remember correctly, the Freddie Prinze Jr. part is like the more likable male role.
I believe so, yeah.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but that's what I remember from the movie, is obviously the 4 main cast members, and that they're, they do something horrible, and then they kind of have consequences for it.
As you should. As you should.
What do you remember from the film?
I also did not see this in theaters, and I think I saw it the next year around Halloween. I've talked about before on the podcast how a group of our friends would get together basically like every Friday night, and we'd always watch a movie. So around Halloween time, we would rent some Halloween movies. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine it was probably the next year when I saw it. And at that point, I became very aware of like who Sarah Michelle Gellar was because I had a lot of friends that really liked Buffy.
Yeah.
I unfortunately have never seen it, but I knew who.
Weird, guys. He's so weird.
I knew who Jennifer Love Hewitt was, and they were more on our radar then, so I was kind of excited to see it. I do remember that basically, like you said, Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt were more likable than the other two.
I think, and I don't know if they're a couple. I can't remember. Or if they become a couple throughout the movie. I definitely think Sarah Michelle Gellar and Ryan Phillippe's character, if I remember correctly, are a couple.
Okay.
And they're like the worst. That's what I remember from the movie. And
I feel like I remember the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we'll see.
It'd be funny if we come back and we're like, they were delightful.
The other two were dumb. No. And I realize this movie is written by Kevin Williamson. It's based on a novel. But the screenplay was written by Kevin Williamson, which makes sense that it's set in a seaside town and probably really soapy.
Which I feel like he wrote Scream 3.
Did he?
I think so.
I'm just thinking of like Dawson's Creek. Did he write Dawson's Creek? Am I making that up?
No,
I'm not.
He definitely wrote Dawson's Creek.
Sorry, his known for wasn't Dawson's Creek, and I find that weird. But you're right. He wrote Scream. He wrote Scream 2 and Vampire Diaries, of course.
I forgot he did Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, and I said Dury.
The old Vampire Diaries.
Duries. And The Following, which I always heard was good. It had Kevin Bacon on it.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2 seasons.
That's kind of surprising that they do not have Dawson's Creek up there.
I guess if you have written and directed and produced multiple things, that eventually one of those projects are going to fall down the line of the top 4 on IMDb.
Okay. Fair enough. I still think it's more popular than The Following.
Maybe. I mean, in pop culture, I would say.
For sure.
Especially if people are our age.
Yes.
So, I guess we can kind of move on into, do you think this movie is going to hold up?
I'm going to say no. And the reason I say no is I felt like after I saw Scream, which was around these times, they stayed with me as being something that I remembered and wanted to go back and rewatch at different points in my life. And I kind of forgot about this movie. So I'm going with the standpoint of it didn't linger with me and stay as something that I felt like, hey, we should rewatch that again. So I hope it holds up, but I'm saying it doesn't.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. I kind of agree in that sense. I think that there definitely are better, I guess, slasher films out there. That this one is kind of, I think the only reason it stuck with me a little bit was because Ryan Phillippe and Freddie Prinze Jr. were in it. And also Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt. Like, those are very big stars from our childhood, like teen heartthrobs.
Yeah, for sure.
So I definitely think that's probably the only reason it stayed with me. I don't really remember this movie other than thinking that the 2 characters were a lot more horrible than the other 2.
Yeah.
So, but I don't remember like the situations. I know at least 2 people survive, I think I remember, because there is a sequel.
Yes.
That has Brandy in it and somebody else I can't.
Mekhi Phifer.
Yeah. I know that exists. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
But I don't really remember like any of the situations, any of the the killings that happen. But I'm excited to see it again because it probably has been a good 22 years.
Yeah, I'm hoping for some interesting clothing.
Yeah.
From that, we're not quite late 90s, I would say. We're kind of right in that middle point. We're getting to the late 90s.
I think we're going to see a lot of khaki still, though.
I hope it looks like a Gap commercial. And what are the cable net? Is that what it's called?
Cable knit sweaters?
Yeah, cable knit sweater. I
hope the chunkiest of chunky man sweaters.
I'm hoping Freddie Prinze Jr. and Ryan Phillippe look like they were on tour with the Backstreet Boys as backup dancers. I really hope.
It sounds promising just because it is set in a seaside town, and I do think of like beige-y light colors in the late 90s. Yeah, that just sounds...
I'm hopeful.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I also wanted to say thanks to everybody that listened to our most recent bonus-ode. We released one this past Friday, Boy Meets World, our TV bonus-ode. It was hilarious. It was fun to do, and I kind of want to watch some more episodes of Boy Meets World.
For sure.
It's just so comforting.
It is. It's one of those great 90s TGIF shows.
So if you guys want to listen to that episode, go to our website at ruiningourchildhood.com and sign up with our Ruiners Club. It's free. It's totally easy to join. You just tap in your email address and we'll send you an email with a bunch of bonus content.
Yeah. I think we've now done 7 bonus-odes.
Yes.
So, and we're going to be recording another one very soon for the movies.
Yes. October bonus-ode.
Yeah.
Which we'll tell you about later
The
in the
show.
episode. So, anything else we need to talk about?
Where can you stream this?
Yeah, that's true. That's something we do. So, I changed it up, guys, after the Airheads debacle, as I like to call it, which it's not necessarily Just Watch's fault.
Can we call it the Airheads kerfuffle?
Kerfuffle. Okay,
Thank
the
you.
Airheads kerfuffle, where we could not find Airheads last week. It's not Just Watch's fault that Airheads doesn't exist anymore on the streaming services, but I feel like Just Watch has given us bad information before, so I thought I'd change it up. And there's another website called Real Good, REEL, good, and it's also pretty much the same website. They tell you where you can stream it and rent it. And for I Know What You Did Last Summer, you can get it on Fubo TV, streaming service,
Sure.
subscription. And also, it's on Showtime, so I assume it's on the Showtime app.
It's out there.
Yeah, and then you can rent it and buy it on all of the other streaming apps that allow you to do that. So it is available, and we are going to watch it.
That's the basis of our podcast.
Yes. We're going to hit the
Pause.
go watch I Know What You Did Last Summer and come back and talk about it like we always do.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye. And we're back. We just finished watching I Know What You Did Last Summer. And we're going to go ahead and break things down with our categories like we always do. And our first category is Well, Hello There.
Well, hello there.
Where we talk about any cameos of famous or recognizable actors or actresses that we forgot were in the movie. Who did you notice?
I know we kind of briefly talked about who was in this movie, but the 4 main characters in this film, the first one is Ryan Phillippe. He plays a character of the name Barry Cox. And obviously, Ryan Phillippe is from Cruel Intentions, like we mentioned earlier. He's also was in, more recently, the Shooter TV series based on the film that had Mark Wahlberg, right?
Yes.
And he's also in a new TV show called Big Sky, which is set in Montana, which I will hate watch, depending on how accurate or bad it is.
It looked like they kept running advertisements during the Emmys, and I felt like it looked like a decent show.
No, it's like a murder mystery and stuff. I think I'll more hate watch it for if it's not accurate to like the setting that it's in, then I'm going to hate watch it. I don't get that a lot. People that probably live in LA, New York, and other places that movies are frequently set, I think they probably have it a lot where like that's not accurate, or maybe it's a little too accurate, but I don't have that.
If they show a city that has 3 buildings in it and claim it's Missoula, you're gonna like flip the coffee table over.
I will.
You're like, it's a city of 75,000 people.
There's no excuses in 2022 because you have the internet, you have research.
Anything's possible with these writers. I'm like, let's go ahead and take a couple shortcuts.
People won't notice, except for the 10 people that live in Missoula. Oh, wait, it's a huge city.
Oh, our bad.
Anyway, I digress. Who was the next person you wanted to talk about?
The next person first person that I saw was Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she plays Helen in this movie. We know her from Cruel Intentions.
Yes.
Buffy.
Yes.
She was on an episode of Big Bang Theory.
As herself.
Yeah, from
Yeah.
like the last season.
I also see that she's going to do a voice in the Masters of the Universe Revelation, which is a reboot
Okay.
on the series from our childhood, or I guess a little bit before our childhood.
Yeah.
My brother did watch it, though.
Well,
I'm pretty sure.
I remember watching it because my brothers were also big Masters of the Universe fans.
Okay.
They had all the toys.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
The next one is Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Mm-hmm.
She played Julie James. She should be a character in a Marvel comic.
Yep.
Party of Five, obviously. Can't Hardly Wait. And more recently in the 911 TV series.
Yeah. I don't know that I've ever really watched any of her shows. I never watched Party of Five. I didn't watch Ghost Whisperer.
I didn't watch Ghost Whisperer, but I did watch a couple seasons of Party of Five more recently. It's very 90s.
Oh, I bet.
It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it, but then I kind of just was like, kind of get out of it, you know?
I hear you.
Haven't seen 911, though. I mean, I
No.
watched a couple of the first episodes the first season when Connie Britton was on it.
Okay.
It's pretty ridiculous,
I bet.
especially for somebody that's worked as a 911 dispatcher.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Very over the top.
very over the top, but
Is Peter Krause on that?
yeah, he is.
Okay. All right. My next one is Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yes.
He plays Ray. The things I know Freddie Prinze from were Scooby-Doo, She's All That,
Of course.
and he's going to be on the new Punky Brewster series.
Which I didn't know they were doing that.
I don't think I did either.
Yeah. I heard talks, but I didn't know it was like an official thing.
Yeah. I think the thing that always surprised me about him was he was writing for the WWE at one point.
Yeah.
For like 3 years. We mentioned his wife, Sarah Michelle Gellar, and I do see a dishwasher detergent commercial with them all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it always makes me happy when I see it.
Yeah. They're a good couple.
Yeah,
They've been together a long time.
for sure.
Ironically, they're not a couple in this movie.
Do you think that like this is when they started dating?
It might have been.
Oh,
It totally lines up, I think.
Together like 23 or 24 years. I know this movie came out 23 years ago, but you figure it started filming probably
Yeah.
24 years ago.
Yeah,
Freaking
that's
crazy.
true.
Cool.
The next person I have is Brigitte. Do I always mess this up every single
I don't
time
know
we
why
say
you
her
go
name?
like Brigitte Nielsen. Bridget.
Well, she adds extra letters.
Yeah, she does add a couple extra.
Bridget Wilson Sampras.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about her on the podcast.
Yep.
She's from Billy Madison, The Wedding Planner, which are 2 movies we've done for this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And she plays Elsa Shivers, which is Sarah Michelle Gellar's character's sister.
Mm-hmm.
And they hate each other
Oh boy, do they ever.
for some reason.
Do you think Bridget Wilson is like, I should say, do you think Elsa is jealous of Helen because she's like a beauty queen in this, like a pageant queen?
Yeah, but freaking Bridget Wilson is a very beautiful person.
That's
And
what
they
I was.
kind of, I guess, tone her down a little bit. Like
They put glasses on
Yeah,
her. She's all that her.
which in the 90s is how you show that you're homely.
Because that's that's where I was going with my question is I'm like, she's also beautiful.
Yeah. No, I don't understand that whole relationship.
No.
And it never gets resolved, as we'll
No.
talk about later.
No, it does not.
Go ahead with the next one.
My next one is Johnny Galecki.
Yes.
He plays Max, and the first thing I ever remember seeing Johnny Galecki in is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Then he was David on Roseanne,
Yeah.
and Leonard Hofstadter on Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
He has had a very steady career.
He really has.
Yeah.
2 hit shows.
I was going to say.
And he's more recently guest starred as his character on the Roseanne reboot that turned into the Connors. So,
Yeah. Always liked him.
yeah, I enjoyed him.
I think he seems like a celebrity. If you met him, he would be just the nicest person.
To me, seems like he would just be like, don't talk to me. Not because he doesn't appreciate you as a fan, but because he doesn't seem like the type that likes to talk to people in general. Like, he seems like somebody that
Maybe a little shy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you don't see him ever. It's not like he's out and about and he's very, like, socially active. So I think maybe he's been like, yeah, I just like to sit in my house and not talk to people. But I could be totally wrong.
Could be the nicest human being ever.
Yeah, maybe just, stays under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
The last person that I have is Anne Heche, plays Melissa Egan, who is the sister of who they think might be the person that they killed. It's complicated.
It is a little complicated.
We'll get into it, but Anne Heche, you know her from the Psycho remake in the late 90s. She was on Ally McBeal, and more recently she is on Chicago PD. She was a thing for a while in the late 90s.
Yeah, she really was.
She was in that movie with Harrison Ford.
6 Days, 7 Nights.
I actually saw that in theaters.
I wouldn't tell people that. No, I'm joking. I never saw it, but I know it was a successful movie. And
yeah, it did have Harrison Ford.
It's going to say, it's got Harrison Ford. And like you said, she was a thing for a while there. This was probably before she started exploding, and then she blew up.
It definitely was. Mm-hmm. Did you have anybody else?
I was going to mention the person. I didn't recognize him, but I looked him up. His name is Muse Watson. He plays the fisherman. He was on NCIS. He was on Prison Break. He's been in literally a ton of shit.
Yes.
So I just figured we should mention him.
Good point.
Okay.
He is the killer.
Yes,
spoiler alert for anybody that has not seen this movie.
Wait a minute. I thought this was a romantic comedy.
What?
Okay.
It's not. Shall we move on?
We shall.
The next category is called Kids Would Call It a Throwback. We call it the prime of our teens, where we talk about the fashion and dated references. And that's it.
Yeah.
What did you think about the fashion?
It wasn't too bad, but there was some things that I noticed. Right off the bat was Julie's bangs.
Yeah.
Which were very of the time. I remember a lot of my friends when I was in like 5th grade, they had bangs like that.
Yeah. Bangs were in.
Bangs galore.
I will say that I think the only thing I noticed from this movie that I had to note was her hat that she was wearing when she comes home from college.
You mean Blossom's hat?
Yes. It was missing a flower.
It was.
But I don't know if that was just to note that she had really given up on herself.
It's possible.
She's had a year. It's not been great for her. The guilt has gotten to her, and she shows it. And she also looks like she's on drugs a little bit, which prompts her mom to ask her if she is on drugs.
She was
warranted.
Very pale.
Yeah.
The other one, Sarah Michelle Gellar, when she gets her hair chopped off, she's wearing the hat that reminds me of the one Keira Knightley wears in Love Actually.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's I don't know what style hat that is. Like a newsboy? Yeah.
Jinx. You owe me a Coke. Okay.
No.
I've never said that. I don't know why I just did that.
I don't know why either.
It was creepy.
That's all I had, because apparently I put in a note that goes in the next category, so.
I just wanted to note, earlier in the episode, you said, I hope there's some good fashion, lots of khakis. And right off the bat, Ryan Phillippe didn't let you down. He's got khakis on.
Yeah, he's literally just a walking Abercrombie and Fitch ad.
Yeah. I was going to say, him and Ray are wearing their wife beaters.
Yes.
White and black.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, they did look like Abercrombie models.
Yeah, it just fits with the times. We were talking earlier about how I feel like we, growing up in the 90s, had this massive explosion of like teen idols and people that we consider like teen heartthrobs.
Yeah.
Which I know obviously past decades they have those, but I just feel like there were so many in the 90s.
There really was. It seemed like there was so many teen-driven movies for us, teen-driven series. We had boy bands and pop stars out the wazoo.
Yeah.
We were talking about it the other day where, like, right now there's one really big boy band. But when we were growing up, there was like 4.
That's true. There's a lot more competition.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like that the 90s was driving that, and then everything after kind of was the same. But like prior to that, I just feel like there was a huge explosion of popular culture for teenagers and young children.
Absolutely.
but I could be wrong. If you grew up in the 80s, you might be like, well, let me tell you, we had Scott Baio.
And we had Justine Bateman, damn it. And you're like, yeah, but did you have 70 people?
Did you have JTT, Devin Sawa, Ryan Phillippe, Freddie Prinze Jr.? I could name them all. Brad Renfro, some other people.
You're like, I gave you 5.
Good times. Anyway, back to the movie.
Joshua Jackson.
James
Van Der Beek.
Did you ever like James Van Der Beek as Dawson? I don't think anybody did.
Never saw it.
Anyway.
Your face. It was just like,
Did you have any other fashion?
I did not.
How about dated references?
Sadly, I only had one. And did you have a lot?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a scene where Helen and Barry are talking about their future that they want to have. And she's like, you're going to be a quarterback for I think she says Steelers or Cowboys. And she was like, I'm going to be finishing up my second year on Guiding Light.
She did say that.
Yeah. And I looked it up. Guiding Light ended in 2009.
Awesome.
That's all I had.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
Oh,
They
okay.
don't reference a lot of things.
Oh.
Surprisingly. It's like Kevin Williamson's like, I put all the references in Scream. I want to write a movie that's a horror movie, sort of, but without any references.
No references.
Yeah, I didn't have any at all. Do you want to move on?
Yeah. Our next category, we're going to go ahead and fire up Net Search to look up David Egan and talk about a little technology.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only technology there really was Julie's awesome, small but clunky laptop.
I was going to say, it was probably like a 9-inch screen.
Yeah.
But it was like 3 inches thick.
It was. Yeah. And she used it a couple times to do some research on the person that was harassing them for most of the movie. And the web browser was super basic.
Yeah. Google laughed at it.
It was good times. But, they use the internet to find information. So that is still relevant.
And I will say, in 1997, I don't think I had a computer capable of getting on the internet.
It took a while. They don't show a scene of the dial-up.
No, I mean, like, we legit didn't have the internet in our house. Oh. Yeah, in 1997.
I feel like we got our first computer when I was in 7th grade. So, yeah, 99, I think.
Same.
For us.
Yeah, I think it was 99 for us.
So they were ahead of the time with...
Yeah.
I mean, they do note that her... what's her name?
Julie?
Julie and the three of them are from well-to-do families, whereas Ray is not.
Yeah, he was from the wrong side of the tracks.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly.
So they're all getting dial-up internet before everybody else, apparently. I'm just kidding. I'm sure lots of people had it. We were just not cool enough to have it for a couple of years.
I was going to say, we were behind the times.
Yeah. Did you do anything else?
I did not.
Yeah, no technology.
Which I think that helps movies,
Oh, yeah, for sure. The next category is called Is It Even Good? Where we talk about the plot holes, and we name our funniest and cringiest moments of the movie. And also, since this is a horror movie, we do have a best death scene, which I can't say. Best death scene. So let's talk about that plot.
Oh boy.
It's a plot.
It's a plot. Can we just put it right out there? The cast, meaning the main 4, are murderers.
Well, technically they're not. When you find out what happened.
But they
attempted murders.
They were like, oh, we committed vehicular manslaughter. Which I should point out, I think Ray points that out. He's like, this is vehicular manslaughter. But he said they're going to get the chair for that. They're
17, 18. They're dumb.
So they're like, well, let's go ahead and move the body.
Right.
And then the guy grabs the person that they hit, the fisherman. He grabs the crown off of Helen's head.
Yes.
So they know he's not dead. Like, you know what we should do? Probably throw him in this water and drown his ass.
A lot of that's driven by Barry, Ryan Phillippe's character. He probably has the most to lose, I guess, because he seems to be the most well off.
And he, I think, was going to go play college football from what I can gather.
Mm-hmm.
So most schools would not want you if you commit murder.
That's true.
They frown upon that.
I mean, some of them do. It depends on how good of a player you are, really. Let's be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to move into our plot holes,
okay,
I have some things about that because I feel like Barry, he is the first one that's like, we need to take care of this because we'll be all screwed if we don't. And obviously the girls at first are like, no, let's call the police like normal people would.
As I say, Julie was very adamant about, no, call the police. Let's try to get him help. And
yeah, and even Helen at first was like, yeah, we should call the police.
Yeah.
But then her boyfriend bullies her into changing her mind. And he keeps saying that we'll be dead too. He's already dead. We'll be dead too if we tell the police. And I don't know if he knows how the justice system works, especially for white privileged males.
Yeah.
In this time, he probably would be fine. And he wasn't driving.
He wasn't. He concluded that they would think he was driving.
Yes, because it's his car.
Because it's his car. But my thing is, you were standing and you had your hands up out of the sunroof. Or not.
He had half of his body.
He was standing up there and he was slapping everything. I'm like, your handprints are all over.
Your handprints are all over. You probably should be dead also. That was another plot hole that I had because they hit the guy so hard and they spun out. Yet he stayed in the car, but half of his body was outside the car. He probably should have flew out.
Should have flew out. Or when the body gets hit, he has the guy's blood on him.
Yeah.
He might have been decapitated.
Yeah, that's true. And then also I was thinking he probably would have bruises or something on his stomach from hitting the window, the car window, the rooftop window.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called.
Windshield.
Yeah. No.
Oh, the sunroof.
Yeah, the sunroof.
Window. Like, he would have definitely had a mark like Audrey in Vegas Vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of things that didn't make sense with that, but I also feel like it can be explained in the sense that they're all 18-year-olds that don't really know how things work, I guess, and they're just so worried about their futures that, you know, when you're a kid, everything is life or death.
Yeah.
Every situation you make, everything. So I guess that can be explained a little bit. Still, a lot of this movie could have been avoided if they would have just called 911, man.
Exactly. They wouldn't be a movie.
Yeah.
It would have been 10 minutes long.
They would have probably gotten a ticket.
I did like one of the lines I said was, I forget who says it though. They go, who could have seen us? We were so careful.
That was Helen.
Okay.
And that was another plot hole I had. Because it's when Julie first gets the note that says, I know what you did last summer. Title of the movie. She goes to Helen, who she hasn't seen for a year, and tells her, and that's what she says. She's like, we were so careful. And I'm like, were you? You guys are really sloppy about dumping the body. You left DNA on him, I'm sure.
And Julie, to her credit, was like,
were we?
Well, she said that, but also she pointed out, you hit him with your car.
Yeah.
He is on your car, and your car is on him. They're going to figure it out.
Right.
She was a voice of reason to them.
She very much was.
But Barry was a little scary. Some might even say, scary Barry.
No, nobody would say that except for you.
Okay, just me.
No, I agree. Fucking Barry, man.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that. Did you have any other plot holes?
I do.
Go ahead.
There's a scene where Julie and Helen are going to go try to track down David Egan's family. And they go to Anne Heche's house. Missy is what they call her. Under the guise that they're there because they have car problems and they need to use a phone.
Right.
But they're getting really questioning about your brother who's dead that you just told us is dead, but we're really interested in it. And to the point, I'm going to come back with a yearbook and ask you to identify people. And I'd be like, I thought your car broke down.
Yeah. She doesn't really question it until the very end. Honestly, she's supposed to come off as this kind of, she's a little off. I don't know if it's because she's dealing with her brother. She thinks he killed himself.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of are making it seem like she's the killer. Because she's a little strange.
Yeah.
And off-putting.
She's dealing with animal carcasses.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, she knows her way around a knife.
Right.
Or a hook.
But spoiler alert, they didn't kill her brother. Her brother was killed by the killer.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Who happens to be the father of the girl he killed. It gets overly complicated.
It really does.
So every summer somebody gets killed. Allegedly.
It's not a good town.
Also, that road is super dangerous, and those kids drive on it like it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Windy road on the side of a cliff? Take it at 60.
Yeah.
It's
well,
okay.
I've been drinking.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess Ray wasn't technically drinking.
He was not.
But still.
Yeah.
I did want to talk about Elsa and Helen's relationship a little bit because it doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't really add anything to the plot that they hate each other so much.
Yes.
I don't get it. Like, at one point, Elsa's like, you're pathetic.
All you care about is your hair.
Yeah. Which is, it's like a foreshadowing because the killer
is going to cut off her hair.
I don't want to say killer. He did kill people, but for a while, he was just pulling really bad pranks.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he was just harassing them, but I was just like...
Stealing a jacket?
He stole a jacket. He did hit him with the car. It's a little more than a prank, but...
Running someone over with a car.
Yeah. But he cuts Helen's hair. He stores a dead body in Julie's car with a bunch of crabs.
And then...
Which is a plot hole. Because how the fuck did he get that body out of the car so quickly?
Yeah. And all those crabs.
Yeah. Maybe the body.
Yeah, you could probably move a body.
Within like 5 minutes.
I was going to say, by yourself, you could do that.
I don't know.
All them crabs?
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't make any sense. Just in general, when you find out that the killer is this older man, the fact that he could move bodies so quickly.
Very good point.
Because he kills Barry.
Mm-hmm.
And he moves the body within like a couple minutes.
Body's gone.
To the point where the police are like, why are you freaking out, lady? Even though you just saw your boyfriend get killed. Or ex-boyfriend.
Slashed.
Yeah.
I did want to go back just a second because you mentioned the relationship with Elsa and Helen.
Yeah.
And Helen is running from the fishermen to get away from him. And she runs up to their family's store.
Mm-hmm.
And Elsa's inside doing inventory. She is pounding on the door, screaming for help. Helen is. And Elsa couldn't be more casual with the way she walks over. She gets about halfway. It's like, oh, I forgot the key. Let me go back and get the key and slowly walk over there. Lets her inside. Lets Helen inside.
Yeah.
Helen tells Elsa, there's a guy out there trying to get me. But then did you notice that she had to go casually walk over to another door and lock it?
Part of my thing is that's why they established that they don't like each other, is so that when she sees her sister, when Elsa sees Helen, she's like, she's being dramatic again because she has to be like the center of attention and be dramatic.
I guess, but I'm going, your sister is in a panic.
Yeah. They don't show us a time before this if her personality showed that she was overly dramatic. To me, I mean, there's only a couple scenes before the incident happens where they run over the fisherman. She doesn't seem that overly dramatic. Like, she likes her beauty pageants. She's
so
kind
that
of
makes you
full
dramatic,
of herself.
I guess?
She's full of herself a little bit, but not to an annoying degree.
And it seems like her having to move back from New York had mellowed her out.
Yeah, it kind of put her down a peg. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have any other plot holes?
I had one last plot hole. At the very end, Ray... it seems like Julie has it in her head that Ray is the killer.
Right.
Or not the killer, but the person that is harassing them with the notes and stuff like that.
Because they don't actually know that he's killing anybody.
That's true.
I mean, she saw Max's body, but she was the only one that saw it. And then I think at one point she probably thought, did I just hallucinate that?
Because, yeah, she goes out there and that body's gone.
Yeah.
Crabs are gone. So Julie jumps on this other person's boat. Turns out this is the killer.
Mm-hmm.
And the fisherman takes off in the boat. Ray jumps in this little boat to catch up to them. It's motorized, so that's not really an issue. But the next thing you see is Ray climbing on board. And I'm like thinking to myself, you caught them. You managed to gauge their speed, pull up right next to a moving boat that is huge, steady it, and climb on board.
Yeah, he's amazing. He's a fisherman.
Believable. Seems believable. No reason to think that wouldn't be something that you could do.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem is, right?
Okay, like, he's a fisherman. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was logistically a little weird. Also, I feel like there was a couple times where they were talking about what happened the summer before, and like when they go to Barry's house after Julie gets the note and her and Helen go to Barry's house, they're sitting on the porch, they're just talking about it openly while his mom is in earshot, and they're just talking about how they murdered this guy the summer before.
Apparently Kevin Williamson is a fan of doors being open.
Yes.
Because the door to the house was open.
Right.
And the mom, like you said, his mother is right inside the house.
Yeah. And then when they go to visit Barry in the hospital, they're just talking about it in the hospital while they're walking down the hall, while there's nurses going by.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, somebody's going to be like, these kids keep talking about how they hit some guy on the road last year.
It's crazy.
And how he might be stalking them.
Get out of town.
Yeah. No, I guess that happens a lot in movies. When people are talking about private things, but they're talking in a public space, and I'm like, why would you talk about this in a restaurant or, somewhere like when you're saying this is a secret, but I'm going to say it really loud for everybody in the restaurant to hear.
Covering their mouth and going, hey, I got a secret.
I think that's all of the plot holes that I will talk about as of right now. What was your funniest line or moment?
I had a couple, but I'm going to narrow it down to when they have hit the fisherman on the road. They're trying to decide what to do, and Max pulls up in his truck.
Johnny Galecki's character.
Johnny Galecki. Ray walks over and asks, what can I do for you, Max?
In the nicest way possible.
Nicest way possible. To which Max's reply is, you can wipe that shit-eating grin off of your face. Or, no, he says, you can wipe that my shit don't stink grin off of your face. To which Ray replies, okay, Max, we'll do. It's like, what?
It was so out of nowhere. So I think the only other scene we had of Max was during the 4th of July celebration. He goes up to Julie and kind of like asks her out, I guess.
Yeah.
And then he gets in a fight with Barry, which now watching the full movie and knowing that Barry is a complete and utter asshole makes sense. But I don't know why Max is so against Ray other than he's jealous that he's with Julie. I don't know.
That, and when they kind of, Barry is an asshole to Max, Ray breaks up the fight. So maybe he's like, well, F you. So that's maybe why he's kind of
like, I don't need you to save me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
obviously, there is that dynamic of Barry in that group is very popular. Max maybe isn't popular in high school, but it's still, it doesn't make sense why he's such an asshole.
No. What was your funniest moment?
I definitely liked that one.
Okay.
And that's all I wrote, apparently.
Oh.
So that one made me crack up. There was other ones that I felt like probably weren't supposed to be funny.
No.
That I laughed at.
There was a couple, yeah. I liked when they're in the hospital.
Yes.
Barry's in the hospital, and he was wearing a slicker.
Which is like, I guess, a fisherman's coat.
Yeah. And Ray's like, so does everyone else in this quaint little fishing village. That should be the end of it.
Right.
They cut back to Barry, and he's like, hey, you have one.
Because Ray is now a fisherman.
No shit. He just told you everybody in the city has one.
As evident by the scene where they're looking for the killer or the stalker at this point in the parade.
Yeah.
Helen and Barry are. And she literally looks at every single person, which there's tons of people wearing fisherman gear.
Yeah.
In, again, the seaside town.
Exactly.
And it's just, silly.
Very silly.
What was your cringiest line or moment?
So the four of them have now transported the body down to the dock.
Right.
And they throw him into the water, like you do.
Yeah.
And afterwards, Barry wants to make sure everybody's on the same page. And he's like, we're taking this to our grave. And he, grabs Julie by the throat.
Right.
And she just kind of robotically, though, goes like, Okay, Barry, to the grave.
I don't know if that was an acting choice, if more like her just giving up on voicing her concern because he's a fucking psychopath.
I don't know that I would. I didn't like the roboticness, but also I'm going at the same time. If somebody's got me by my throat, yelling at me to say, we're taking it to the grave, I'm like, absolutely, we're taking it to the grave.
I feel like Ray did not do anything.
No.
This chick just gave you her virginity, presumably. They kind of make it seem like that is the case before the incident happens. And you're just letting this guy choke her out. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I see you, Ray.
Good guy, Ray.
Mine was, actually, speaking of when they have sex scene, they're sitting on the beach, just Ray and Julie, and she's talking about how, they're going to different colleges next year, that old tune. And he's like trying to convince her to stay together. So he's like, high school sweetheart relationships are more likely to last than any other relationship. And Julie asks him to cite his sources, and he points to his heart. And then they proceed to, have sex. Yeah. So it worked, but
it worked good.
It was so cheesy.
I'm going to need a bibliography. It's right here.
In my heart.
In my heart.
Also, my other favorite part, which is kind of funny / cringy, is during the beauty pageant the second time when Helen is now the returning winner. They make her sit on stage right next to the people performing.
Yeah.
It's so awkward.
And the girl sings Fame.
Yeah.
Really weirdly.
Yeah.
In a swimsuit.
Yeah. It was very awkward.
Yeah.
Now we can move on to our best death scene, an exclusive category in our horror movies. Because it'd be awkward if there was.
It's a rom-com. What was your best death scene? When their grandma died. And they all went back for the funeral.
Anyway.
Yeah.
What was your favorite?
My favorite, and I think it was because it caught me off guard, is when Max gets it.
Yes.
He's putting like crabs in a steamer, it seems like, and they're just to cook them. And it's really steamy in there and he can't see. And then all of a sudden, wham, hook through the jaw.
Honestly, I thought that death scene was really good. I think it was all downhill from there because there's only a couple more death scenes. This isn't like Scream where it seems like people are dying left and right.
Yeah.
He really is trying to like fuck with the kids first. But I feel like, why is he killing all these random people?
Yeah,
like, he kills Max.
Yeah.
He kills that police officer.
Kills Elsa.
He kills Elsa for no reason.
Yeah.
So I'm like, he's more or less just killing a bunch of innocent people while pranking the people that he should be killing.
Hey, I know what you did last summer. I'm going to write soon on your mirror with some lipstick.
I'm going to give you a really bad haircut in the middle of the night.
But then the next time you're on screen, your hair's going to look amazing.
Yeah, she just got a nice cut. He was just helping her out. He's like, I noticed you had some split ends. Need a haircut.
It looked a little dry. Here you go.
I'm like, why did you kill Max? Other than it was to show that Max wasn't the killer.
Yeah, because they right away think it's him fucking with them.
Yeah.
To the point, Barry, Mr. Unhinged himself, goes and threatens him.
Exactly. Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me. But, okay, movie. Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
Right at the beginning of the movie, David, they show sitting on a rock with his feet dangling over a ledge. And he's obviously, we know later, thinking about how his girlfriend died the year before.
Right.
And I cannot watch scenes like that, where someone's sitting there with their feet dangling off a ledge. I'm like, I couldn't do it. And it gives me a little anxiety when I watch it. I'm like, I know that person's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
He didn't die sitting there.
That we know of. Yeah. No. First of all, I totally forgot anything in this movie other than they hit a guy with their car and then they cover it up.
Yeah.
I don't remember that they thought it was one guy and it turned up being another guy who murdered the first guy.
Yeah.
Overly complicated.
Very much so.
For no reason. I don't remember Anne Heche.
No. I don't remember Johnny Galecki.
I don't remember Johnny Galecki, but I do remember his death scene because it was the only one that was super gruesome. But again, I feel like they all went downhill from there and they were just kind of
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's more of a plot hole, but I felt like the killer really liked to kill people in crowded places. Like, he kills Ryan Phillippe's character. Nobody notices.
Yeah.
In this very busy beauty pageant. Mm-hmm. He moves the body very quickly. The sheriff's deputy goes up there and is just like, this bitch is lying.
And there would be blood everywhere.
Yeah. There was a little bit of blood.
Bit, but I'm going, you just hacked a guy to death.
Yeah, they don't show him actually hacking him, but they have this, like, close-up of Ryan Phillippe's face, and you can hear whacking.
Yeah, there's going to be blood splatter.
Yeah. Everybody knows that if you've watched Forensic Files at least once.
They're just going to get up there and spray a little luminol. That place is going to light up.
Yeah. For more than one reason.
Well done.
Gross.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have anything else you wanted to talk about?
No.
Okay, we can move on.
As always, on Ruining Our Childhood, it is award season. We give out 2 awards every week, the first of which is a valedictorian to the Nicolas Cage Online School of Bad Acting. Whom did you give your award to?
I will preface this and I've said it before, that sometimes there's weeks where I have to give it to the character more than the actor.
Uh-huh.
And this week, I gave it to Ryan Phillippe as Barry Cox.
Okay.
Because I've never wanted a character to die as much as I wanted this character to die.
Okay.
I feel like the first scene of the movie, they're watching Helen win the beauty pageant, and they're all just sitting up in that little balcony,
mm-hmm.
and they're so friendly towards each other. Like, these are really good friends.
Yeah.
And then the minute he starts drinking, they're driving home, he becomes the worst piece of shit ever. Like, at one point, Julie's like, you're an alcoholic. And I'm like, are these people supposed to be friends? Like, that's how you're going to approach that subject? But okay. Every time he yelled, it just was out of nowhere, I felt like. And I think you're supposed to not like him.
Yes. He's very unhinged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the one that is driving them to keep this secret. Mm-hmm. But he just flips his shit.
Yeah. He has a lot of rage issues.
And then I just feel like when you mentioned the part where he's like, you have a slicker, and tries to insinuate that Ray is the person that ran him over with his car. Then the other part when Ray walks up to them after Julie's like, there's a body in my trunk. And he just is like, you're going to die, and punches him. I'm like, that's how you say hi to your friend that you haven't seen in a while?
Hey, man, how you doing? Punch to the face.
And I just felt like his death scene was kind of meh.
It was meh.
But
I agree.
I know last week you said that when you were a kid, you guys would root for the deaths in horror movies. Mm-hmm. And I called you a psycho, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you did.
But watching this movie, I realized I understand it. When you don't like a character so much and you're just like, I can't wait for you to die.
Thank God.
Who did you give your award to?
I gave mine to Jennifer Love Hewitt as Julie, and I did give it to her for her acting. There was some interesting choices when she is spinning in a circle yelling, "What are you waiting for?" But also there was some robotic delivery from her on multiple lines when she gets a phone call from Helen that her hair has been cut off, and she just is like, "What? Oh my gosh." And then runs out of there like someone's dead, but it's just some hair getting chopped off.
Right.
The last thing that she did is, I noticed she screams at everything.
Yeah, she's a scream queen.
Yes. She's on the boat, the fisherman opens a hatch, screams, which I get, this man is trying to kill you. Then Ray pulls him away, or like punches him. Or no, he doesn't punch him. He hits him in the face with a hook to knock him backwards. Ray comes over there, screams at Ray, just as, ah! Then the fisherman stands up, screams.
Yeah.
And it's like, I get she's a scream queen, but I know some of this was directed at her. We want you to stand in the middle of the street and scream, "What are you waiting for?" and spin in a circle. But I was going more on the robotic delivery.
Okay.
And I'm pretty sure we know where this is going.
Do we?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want to move on to the next award?
Yep.
The next award is the Thomas J. Hanks Award for Exceptional Acting. And who did you give your award to? To
further make this come full circle, I gave it to Ryan Phillippe as Barry Cox. I totally agree with you. He has rage issues, and he is very over the top. But I felt like everybody else in this movie is pretty boring. The majority of it. And you do want to beat the shit out of him, and you can't wait for him to die. But I felt like he was interesting, and he had some great moments. If you're going to be like, hey, wait a minute, you got a slicker. We've already figured that out. Walks up at his friends, he's like, what's going on, man? I'm going to punch you in the face, or you're going to die, and punch him in the face. So I was like, he was over the top, but he was my favorite part in this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan.
Whom did you give your award to?
I did give it to Jennifer Love Hewitt.
I could tell you were exceptionally quiet while I was talking.
And again, I went more the character route.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she's the only redeeming character, the only character that you want to root for, because she does have guilt. And while I think even at one point when they're talking about how this person's harassing them, she's trying to convince Barry that they should go to the police. I'm like, you know, you can go to the police without him, right? You don't need to be doing this in a group. She didn't do such a bad job. I felt like the transition from her being this like happy teenager in the beginning to this person that's definitely had a tough year dealing with the guilt and dealing with her first year of college. And she does look like shit. And
her mom even mentions she's doing terrible in school.
Yeah.
Very bad grades.
I do agree with you that maybe there was some questionable times where she screamed, like, or felt her scream when she first sees the body after they hit him was a little out of nowhere, like a little forced.
Yep.
But at the same time, I felt like, again, she was the only character that I was like, if she's the only character that survives, then I'll be happy.
Agreed.
I did like, at the end of the movie, she's very peppy again, like she's back to normal because, well, they didn't actually kill anyone and she survived this. But I'm like, 2 of your high school friends are dead.
Yeah.
No? You don't care?
No. I do like when she was on the phone and she's on the phone with Ray.
Right.
She's about to get in a shower and he's like, what are you wearing? She's like, a towel. And then you can tell he says something dirty and she's like, you can ravage me in 2 weeks.
It was, it's like, I think it's less to do with Jennifer Love Hewitt's performance as it has to do with the writing of this movie, that she had to say lines like that. Or like you said, when she yelled, like, what are you waiting for?
Yeah.
Which I think is a clip that they always used in the trailer, because I definitely remember that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think she is watchable, but I agree with you that Brian Phillippe's character was definitely fun to watch in the sense that you're like, I can't wait until he dies. And to me, his death scene was a little bit of a letdown.
I totally agree with you. They start high with Johnny Galecki, and it goes downhill. And also, I knocked her performance, but I do agree with you. She's the only one that apparently has any common sense in any redeeming qualities.
And she's the only one that's worried about, like at first, worried about this person that knows their secret. And she's doing research. She's trying to figure out who is doing this to them.
Yeah.
And everybody else is like, don't worry about it.
I was going to say.
Until they start getting harassed too.
My boy Barry, he could give 2 shits for a while.
Yeah. Until he gets hit by a car. Then he starts giving a little shit.
Then he gets a little bit of a shit.
So now we can move on to our final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So we said this movie wouldn't hold up.
That is correct.
Do you agree with your initial opinion?
I do. I like Freddie Prinze Jr., and I think he's a charming guy. I don't know if the filmmakers knew who they were hiring, so let's put him in like 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, he's not really in a lot of the movie. And then at one point they kind of try to make it seem like he's the killer because he happened to feel the same way as Julie in the sense that he had guilt. So he searched out Melissa and apparently romanced her a little bit.
I guess, yeah. So I figure I'm thinking you underutilize him. Barry is this crazy over-the-top character. He was fun to watch, but I don't think really anybody else is memorable. Yeah. Like you said, it's got a convoluted story.
It's too complicated.
Yeah.
It doesn't end well either. Like, especially, it's kind of foreshadowing. I think maybe they knew they were going to do a sequel because the sequel comes up fairly quickly too.
It does.
The killer even tells her, like, make sure that you check the body, make sure, the person's dead, which is a total horror movie rule.
Scott Foley, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, exactly. But they still don't do it.
No.
At the end. They chop off his hand, he falls in the water. The
body will turn up, is what the police officer says to them. I'm like, getting your hand cut off doesn't mean you're dead.
And this guy has already proven that he can get hit by a car.
Yeah.
And thrown into a river while unconscious and still survive.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. He'll be fine for the end of the movie when he jumps out of a... I don't know how they explain that in the first one. Like it's a dream or something.
That sounds right.
Or, I mean, in the second one?
Yeah. When he jumps through the window or mirror, I guess, kind of. Like a shower door?
It's the shower door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think it's a dream is what
Okay.
they portray it as.
They make it seem like, well, she's dead. She's going to die.
She's going to die. And you even said, you're like, well, that's the only time I jumped during this movie.
I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't have forgot, but I did. I agree. It didn't work for me. It was kind of a letdown. Because also they ended up not even killing anyone. And then, like, how easily Julie's just like, well, back to being a normal teenager because now I don't have this guilt anymore. Well, you should still have some guilt because the situation actually caused 2 of your friends to die. So you should definitely have guilt.
Yeah. You shouldn't just be like, well, everything's good. I got an invitation to a keg party. Everything's great.
Me and my boyfriend got back together.
Yeah. La la la.
So we both agree this movie does not hold up.
Mm-mm.
It's not as good.
No, it's no Scream.
No, it's not.
It's a little disappointing.
It was a little disappointing. Speaking of scary movies, I did ask some people on Instagram, and by some people I meant all of the people that follow our Instagram.
You didn't DM people and ask them specifically.
That'd be creepy. Like a digital ghost face.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Yeah, I asked everybody, what's your favorite scary movie? Mm-hmm. And I got some responses. Let's see here. Ooh, the first response is from Sin Study podcast, and they said Scream.
Oh, okay.
And, like, we're big fans of Scream, obviously. Yeah. We've talked about it several times. So, I agree. It's a good one.
I was going to say, I can't argue with that.
Alexis, friend of the pod, wrote Halloween.
That's a good one.
Yeah. I honestly have not seen Halloween in a really long time. It's not my go-to.
No, it's not, but I'm assuming, and I hope, she means the original and not the Rob Zombie remake.
It is Alexis we're talking about.
That's true.
What do you mean, Alexis?
But I'm just thinking that Rob Zombie one was really the top gory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. I couldn't get through it. Mm-mm. Some things are just better left to the imagination.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
As far as horror movies for me. The guys over at Big Dumb Movie Podcast put Ginger Snaps, and they also put It's Not That Scary, though. I've never seen it.
I've never seen that, nor have I ever heard of it.
Oh, I've heard of it.
Oh, okay.
But I've never seen it.
No.
CLK264 put The Haunting, 1963.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen that one.
I have not seen that one either.
Is The Haunting the remake, the one with like Catherine Zeta-Jones and...
Came out in like 2000?
Yeah.
I think so.
I've seen that.
I have not.
You've never seen The Haunting?
Mm-mm.
Ryan.
Sorry.
And then the PA show on Instagram put A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Ooh.
Which is another classic.
That is a classic.
Yeah, so... Definitely. I mean, we've said it before. One of our favorites is Dawn of the Dead. Mm-hmm. We watched it last weekend.
Yeah. The original.
1978 version.
Yes.
Excellent movie. Mm-hmm. It's a little campy in all the right ways.
I was going to say, it hits all the marks.
Yeah. It's definitely one of our favorites. But speaking of Dawn of the Dead, next week we're going to do another horror movie classic. And by classic, I mean not classic. The 2004 remake of Dawn of the Dead.
Yes.
So, yeah, I'm excited about that one.
I'm excited. I know we own it, so we won't have any airhead issues.
Is that what we're just going to call it now? Airhead issues and we can't find a movie?
The airhead kerfuffle.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Same.
Yeah, it's going to be a goodie.
And then we'll also, like we said earlier, we'll have our bonus show coming out in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, the 1993 classic
Hocus Pocus.
Yes.
And of course, in our mini-sodes, we don't make fun of movies. We just talk about how much we love them.
Yes. And that is a goodie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's one of our faves.
I was going to say, we have been together for 14 years. And for 14 years, I believe we have watched that movie once a year.
That's probably true. I do know, though, the first year or two, I didn't own it,
Yeah.
and it was hard to find.
It was.
It was nowhere.
It was a good purchase buying that.
Yeah. And now it's like I feel like it's an iconic movie that a lot of people obviously love and reference a lot.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the last 7 or 8 years, it's really become like Freeform has really helped build it because they show it damn near every day during Halloween season. And it's definitely become a big deal.
Yeah. I think it's always been a cult classic for people our age, especially as far as like the female audience. But I think over the last couple of years, people have really shown their love for it.
For sure.
To the point where we have merchandise and stuff, which is cool.
I was going to say, we got shirts coming.
Yeah, that's true. We ordered some Hocus Pocus shirts.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
Me too.
Makes me sick. Sorry, guys.
Expect that in a couple weeks. Dawn of the Dead next week. So we'll let you know when we'll have the polls up back again, probably at the end of October.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
We're going to be bringing them back.
Yeah. And we'll continue our loser bracket.
Yes.
So thanks for listening as always, guys. Hope you have a great week. And we'll be back again next week.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.